Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye. Today I'm going to talk about vibration reduction, Nikon terms, or image stabilization, Canon terms. And I've been seeing a lot of talk about these going on among, beginners and even among pros, and there's a lot of argument within that subject. So why am I going to talk about it? Well, stay tuned, I would say, until the end if you're more of a, professional or etc., because I have a huge rant on vibration reduction, IS, and the price that you pay for it. Is it worth it or is it not? So basically this first half, a lot of people know what VR IS is, but if it's for any beginner, you're going to pretty much get a quick crash course on what it is. So just to get into it, vibration reduction is what Nikon calls it, and IS, or VR, is vibration reduction. IS is what Canon calls image stabilization. Basically, it's an inner camera, inner lens system that detects movement, involuntary movement. Now, what is involuntary movement? That's basically, when you have the camera, your hands actually shake. So if you ever, see, I'm doing it slightly. If you ever raise your hand, if you ever try this, you'd see that your hand shakes. Now, if you're like this, you need a lot of VR. But basically, it detects, it's a motion sensor that, you can use just through a switch in your lens, that it detects that there's something inside your lens that will compensate your movement, your natural movement. It does work if you're in a car to a certain point, but not as well if you're just doing handheld. So basically, it gives you an extra 1 to 3, it's usually 2 to 3 stops. So say if you're at 1/60th of a second, you can possibly shoot until 1/15th of a second, something like that range. But I'll get into that in my rant. But basically, if you've ever been taught, if you're over 1 or under 1/60th of a second, just use a tripod. That is the best way to stop shake. So basically, this system compensates for that, VR or IS. So as I said, what is it used for? It's mainly just handheld shots that you can't do typically lower light, so you're actually able to shoot. So where are these found? It's found on your lenses. There's a little switch. I'll show you in a close-up on my 70-200. And it's mainly used in the longer telephoto lenses. But basically, there is a lot of more mid-range zooms that are using this. And, I don't know why per se. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree with me as I get into that. But just want to touch upon a little bit of VR and give you some more jargon, more terms of exactly what this vibration reduction picks up. So as I was saying, vibration, or VR or IS, as I'll call it, it basically is like a motion sensor, if you think about it. It detects movement. And there is obviously two kinds of movement, vertical and horizontal movement. Vertical is called pitching movement. So that part of the motion sensor will say detects, the up and down axis. And horizontal is yawing movement. So if you ever hear those terms, that's what it's referring to. Yawing is horizontal, vertical is pitching. So it's basically a motion sensor that detects your irregular movement that will actually help you shoot in better circumstances. But time for the rant. I think vibration reduction, or IS, is a fantastic thing. Don't get me wrong. Only in long telephoto zooms. I find it really being almost a waste of money, because if you have to shoot below a 60th of a second, use a monopod or a tripod. You're paying a ton more for a lens that has this switch and this, this functionality, which is kind of cool, but in a 14 to 24 or 24 to 70, unless you're at 70 most of the time, which you should just probably be using your 70 to 200, you don't need it. When you're wider, you don't see as much shake because there's not that much concentration on center proportion. I find it being a real waste of money, and if people are buying these lenses thinking, it's the greatest thing, I always need it, you don't. You can always adjust by using a higher ISO instead of getting an overrated feature that, it's just not worth it. I'd say 90% of the time you don't need VR. 10% of the time, and I would fully agree with this one. I'm sure a lot of people would agree, and I even said for a long telephoto like my 70-200 Nikon, you do need it, because when you're at 200 millimeters, or even if you have a 300 millimeter lens, you are going to get that shake, just because the element, it gets heavier. You know, it's got a lot of glass in there. When you're out at 70, not so much, but when you're in a 200, you know what? Absolutely, I will give it to you. It's definitely worth it on that kind of stuff. But for a 24-70, a lot of people disagree with me, and you know what? I think it's not worth it. Not at all. Not for an extra couple $100. And yeah, you do find it, you know, in a $100 18-55 kit lens in either system. But Tamron just came out with the 24-70 to compete with the Nikon and Canon, and a lot of people are going crazy, ape shit, because it has their image stable, or VC or whatever, vibration control. Ooh, yeah, but that lens is $1,300, $1,400 when you can get the same version one of either Nikon or Canon for $1,500. Yeah, it's a very overrated feature, I feel, for the most part. As I said, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but you know what? In a longer lens, it's definitely worth it. It helps with the handshake. But yeah, so if you stay tuned through the rant, you know, give me your thoughts below. As I said, I know I'm going to catch a lot of crap for that, but you know what? Think about it. Really think of what you're getting. Most of the time, I'm not shooting below a 60th of a second anyway. I'm not even below 1/80th of a second. So what is the point of paying an extra $300 to put it into a lens like that Tamron lens I was telling you about, the 24-70, when that's actually only worth $700? Just because it has VC now, people are going crazy over it. Not worth it, and only worth it in your long telephoto lenses. Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye. Please tell me what you think below. And actually, maybe, hopefully, you know, you kind of agree with me on point. Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye. Please subscribe to my channel, like, and let me know what you think. Take it easy.